My name is Adeline. And the day I found out my own sister tried to sell our mother's house, I was 200 miles away, standing in a grocery store aisle, comparing prices on tea. It was a call that did not sound like betrayal at first. The man on the phone spoke gently. Ms. Hale? This is Redwood Title Services. We are calling to confirm the final walkthrough scheduled for tomorrow. I shifted the phone to my other ear, confused. I am sorry, the what? The walkthrough for the Cedar Ridge property, he said. Your sister informed us that you gave consent to sell the home. We just need verbal confirmation. The world stilled. The Cedar Ridge house. Our mother's house. The one she made us promise to protect. The one she said held all the pieces of her life she could not bear to drown in storage. My sister said I consented? I asked. Yes, he replied. She submitted a power of attorney form authorizing her to sign on your behalf. I leaned against the shelf of tea tins so I would not fall. Read the date on that form, I said. He flipped a page. Executed 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago I had been at work in a different city, preparing a presentation, living a normal life. 3 weeks ago I had not seen my sister in months. Read the signature, I said. He read my name. Or rather a smooth, elegant imitation of it. That is not my signature, I said. My voice did not rise. Stillness can be louder than shouting. You do not have my consent. Stop the sale immediately. He hesitated. Miss Hale, once a power of attorney is filed. It was forged, I said. You are now responsible for halting the transfer until identity is verified. I will be at your office at 9 in the morning. Do not release the deed. Do not proceed to closing. Record my refusal in your file. The tone of the call changed instantly. Yes, ma'am. I will mark the sale as disputed. The property will not transfer without further review. It should have comforted me. It did not. Because someone I loved had not just lied. She had planned. I paid for nothing at the store. I simply walked out. The drive back to Cedar Ridge took 4 hours. 4 hours to remember every holiday, every argument, every bedtime whisper between two girls who used to swear the world could never pull them apart. My sister's name is Mara. We used to be close. We used to laugh with the same breath. But when our mother got sick, things shifted. Pain changes people quietly, like a tide that pulls without splashing. When our mother passed, the house became a wound. Mara stayed. I left. Not because I wanted distance, but because I was drowning in the memories inside its walls. Mara never forgave me for that. I pulled into the driveway just past dusk. The moment I saw the house, my chest tightened. The porch light was on. The curtains were open. The yard was trimmed more neatly than I remembered. And in the window, taped to the glass, was a for sale sign. I stood there for a long moment staring at it. Mara had not just tried to sell the house. She had prepared it, polished it, presented it, as if the life inside it was hers alone. The front door opened. Mara stepped out. She did not look surprised to see me. She looked tired, calculated, like someone who had prepared her defense before the crime. You came back, she said. I got a call, I replied. She crossed her arms. Her posture was defensive, but her eyes were steady. You were never going to come home, she said. You left everything to me. I had to do something. You forged my signature. She did not deny it. I needed to move on, she said. We both did. I took one step closer. The porch light cast her shadow long across the grass. This house was not yours to sell, I said. Her jaw tightened. It is now, she whispered. Before I could answer, headlights turned into the driveway. A car door opened, and a man stepped out, holding a briefcase and a stack of legal documents. Mara exhaled in relief when she saw him. She expected him. She had not acted alone. The man walked toward the porch with the confidence of someone who believed he was already on the winning side. His shoes did not crunch on the gravel. His steps were measured, silent, deliberate. He stopped beside Mara. She did not introduce him. She did not need to. Everything about him said representation. He opened his briefcase and pulled out a folder with ribboned corners. Legal formatting. Official enough to intimidate someone who did not know better. But I had just spent 4 hours preparing to not be intimidated. I am Robert Daniels, he said. Your sister retained me to facilitate the sale while you were away. I understand there has been a misunderstanding. Not misunderstanding. Not confusion. A crime. But he chose the gentlest word. People like him always do. I did not authorize a sale, I said. And the power of attorney you submitted is a forgery. His expression did not change. He had practiced that stillness in front of a mirror. I have reviewed the document, he replied. It bears your name and signature, witnessed and notarized. My gaze dropped to the folder. Then you will have no problem showing me, I said. He paused. Only for a breath. But enough to confirm the truth. He had not expected to present it. He had expected me to accept defeat at the doorstep. Mara's arms tightened across her chest. Adeline, you are making this harder than it has to be. I did this for both of us. You have your life somewhere else. I stayed. I handled everything. I deserve. This is not about what you believe you deserve, I said. This is about the law. The house is not yours to sell. Her eyes flashed with something sharp. Not guilt. Fear. Robert finally opened the folder and pulled out the document. My name was written in looping, elegant curves. Close imitation. Close is not the same as truth. He placed the document flat on the porch railing. The signature glowed faintly under the porch light. Your sister obtained this at the courthouse, he said. We have the filed record. No, I replied. You have a scanned record submitted electronically. You have not verified it to the original. You have not checked the notarization stamp. And you have not reviewed the witness line. I leaned in. The witness line is blank. His silence told me everything. I was right. Mara stepped forward, voice cracking with thin frustration. It does not matter. The house is mine now. You were never here. You let me handle everything. You abandoned everything. I had to do something. I stared at her. I did not abandon you, I said quietly. I left because Mom asked me to. She did not want us trapped inside the last part of her life. She wanted us to live. Mara froze as if someone had stopped sound. She remembered those words. She had been in the room when Mom said them. But memory is not useful to someone who has already chosen the story they prefer to live in. I straightened. I am going to the title company in the morning. If this sale moves forward, I will file an injunction. Fraud. Forgery. Attempted unlawful transfer of real property. The charges apply to both of you. Robert's jaw tightened by 1 millimeter. The smallest fracture in confidence. He closed the folder. There is no need for litigation, he said. We can negotiate. There is no negotiation, I replied. The house stays. Until a court decides otherwise. Mara's voice rose, finally cracking fully. You cannot do this. I need the money. You do not understand what I am dealing with. There it was. The truth. Not grief. Not memory. Debt. What debt? I asked. She looked away. She did not answer. Which meant the answer was bad. Inside the house, a light flicked on. Someone else was here. Footsteps moved down the hallway. My stomach tightened. Not with fear. With recognition. A voice floated through the door. Mara? Is everything fine? A male voice. Not a stranger's. I knew it. A long time ago I knew it well. Mara did not meet my eyes. The door opened. And my ex-husband stepped onto the porch. He stepped onto the porch like he still belonged in my life. Evan. My ex-husband. The man I once believed I would build a future with. The man who left me in the quietest, coldest way a person can leave without a goodbye. Only a legally phrased text about needing space. And here he was. Standing beside my sister. Beside the man who forged my signature. Beside the house that held every memory of the woman who raised us. Mara spoke first. Too fast. Too defensive. This is not what it looks like. Yes, I said, keeping my voice steady. It is exactly what it looks like. Evan stepped forward, speaking gently, the way he always did when he wanted to sound reasonable. Adeline, please. Let us come inside and talk. There is no need for public conflict. Public conflict. He was worried about image. We are not going inside, I said. Not until I know why you are here. Evan exchanged a quick glance with Mara. That look told me everything they did not want to say aloud. They were aligned. Not just accidentally. Not just recently. For a while. Mara exhaled. I called him, she said. Because I needed help. Because I was drowning and you were gone. She said gone like I had vanished on purpose. Like I had escaped responsibility. Like grief had only lived in her. I took a step closer, not menacing, just steady. I left because Mom asked me to. She wanted one of us to hold the house and one of us to build a life outside it. You know that. Mara's throat moved in a swallow. She asked me to stay, she whispered. She asked both of us to live, I corrected. Evan cleared his throat, trying to insert himself back into relevance. Mara was carrying the financial burden, he said. There were property taxes, repairs, medical debts left unsettled. She needed resources. I offered to help her secure a buyer. There it was. Not emotional support. Not family. Investment. You funded this, I said. His silence answered me. Mara finally broke. I owed him, she burst out. He lent me money last year. A lot. I promised I would pay him back when the house sold. She was not just selling the house. She was covering a private debt. Evan stepped forward again, palms open, as though he could coax sense into the scene. Adeline, this is practical. You are living your life elsewhere. You do not need this property. Mara does. I simply ensured she had options. Options, I repeated softly. You mean leverage. He didn't deny it. I looked at Mara. You used Mom's house as collateral for a loan you never told me about. Mara's eyes filled, but not with regret. With shame. Shame is not apology. It is fear of being seen clearly. I did not think you would help me, she whispered. You left. You live in the city. You have your own world now. I could not bear to ask and hear no. You asked, I said. Just not me. Evan stepped between us physically now, as if he had any right to stand in that space. We do not need to rehash the past, he said. There is a buyer. The market is high. You can take half the proceeds and walk away clean. Walk away clean. From my mother's house. From the last thing she left us. From the promise she whispered when her hands were too weak to lift a glass. No. I inhaled once. Slow. Grounded. The sale is already blocked, I said. A restraining order is filed. The title company and the county recorder are on notice. Nothing transfers without my signature. And I am the trustee. The house does not move. Not today. Not ever under fraud. Robert, the attorney, straightened slightly, calculating the new equation. Evan's expression finally cracked. Not rage. Arrogance dissolving. Mara's breath hitched. You went to a lawyer, she whispered. Yes, I said. And tomorrow, I added, holding Mara's gaze, I will bring the original trust documents to the courthouse. The judge will restore full legal control to me pending review. Mara shook her head, panic now fully in her voice. No, you cannot. Evan will lose everything. I will lose everything. Please, Adeline, I cannot survive this. I cut her off. You should have thought of that before you forged my name. The porch fell silent. Then, Evan's phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen. His face drained of color. He showed Mara the display. Redwood Title Services. Calling. At night. The only reason they would call now is if something irreversible had already happened. Evan answered, and what he heard made his eyes widen. The title company had found another document on file, one none of us knew existed. And it did not name Mara. Or me. But someone else entirely. Evan held the phone to his ear, but the words on the other end were loud enough to bleed through the silence. Yes, I understand, he said. Yes. We will review it. His voice was calm. His hand was shaking. He ended the call. Mara stepped toward him, anxious, hopeful, terrified. What did they say? Evan looked at me first. Not at her. There is another deed, he said. Filed years ago. Before your mother passed. Mara blinked, confused. What deed? What are you talking about? He exhaled slowly. Your mother added someone to the property title. A co-owner. My heart moved once. Heavy. Slow. No. Not me. Not Mara. I would have known. Who? I asked. He opened an email on his phone and turned the screen toward us. The name glowed back in digital ink. Lydia Hale. Our grandmother. Mara's knees nearly buckled. She died 10 years ago. How could she? I understood first. She was added before she passed, I said. The house was held in joint tenancy. The words felt like stepping on a trapdoor. Joint tenancy meant that ownership transferred automatically to the surviving party without probate. Meaning, when our grandmother died, the house passed entirely to our mother. And when our mother died, it transferred according to the trust. The trust Mara was trying to rewrite. Evan's expression changed, from confusion to calculation to dread. We need to see the trust immediately, he said. I have it, I replied. Mara shook her head, hands trembling. No. I checked the will. I checked the estate paperwork. Mom told me. She told you what you wanted to hear, I said gently. But she wrote what she wanted us to follow. Mara covered her mouth with her hand. It was the first time since I arrived that she looked small. Not defensive. Not furious. Just small. Evan spoke with the cold logic that had always made him dangerous. If the trust is valid, and if Adeline is the trustee, then any sale without her consent is void. We have no leverage. None. Mara turned to him sharply. You said we could do this. You said it was legal. You said. He cut her off. I said it would work if the documents were clean. The forgery ruined that. The way he said it, your forgery, not our, hit her like a physical blow. She staggered back a step. I remembered something then. A memory buried deep. Our mother sitting at the kitchen table with her hands wrapped around a mug of tea. Her voice soft but steady. If I am gone, promise me you will not let anyone decide for you. Not even family. She had known. She always knew. I took a breath. I am going to the courthouse at opening, I said. I will present the trust, the deed chain, and the injunction paperwork. The sale ends. Permanently. Mara whispered. Please, there has to be another way. There was, I said. Before you forged my name. The porch remained silent. Still. Final. Then Evan's phone buzzed again. Rapid, insistent. A text message this time. He looked at the screen and his face went pale. I waited. He swallowed. The buyer is threatening legal action, he said. He claims he was promised a clean transfer. He has already invested in renovations. He is on his way here. Now. Mara's eyes widened. No, he cannot come here. He cannot. A car engine roared up the road. Headlights cut through the dark. Not slow. Not cautious. Approaching fast. Deliberate. Evan stepped off the porch like he might go intercept it. But I did not move. Because I recognized that sound. I knew that engine. The buyer was not a stranger. He was someone very familiar. Someone who should never have been involved in this. The car stopped at the foot of the driveway. The door opened. And he stepped out. Our mother's former attorney. The one who wrote the original trust. The man who stepped from the car did not hurry. He did not look confused. He looked like someone who had expected this moment. Thomas Devereux. Our mother's estate attorney. Mara's face went white. What are you doing here? Thomas closed his door and approached the porch with quiet certainty. The title company reached out, he said. They asked for clarification on a transfer of property involving this address. When I saw whose names were involved, I understood it was time. He was not dramatic. He simply spoke the truth. Evan shifted, arms crossed, defensive. Robert, the notary, watched with the alert stillness of a man already calculating his own risk. I stepped forward. My sister filed a forged power of attorney, I said. She tried to sell the house without my consent. Thomas nodded once. Not surprised. I know, he replied. Mara contacted me 3 months ago. She requested a copy of the trust. She said she needed it to organize paperwork. But I recognized what she was building toward. Mara shook her head sharply. You knew? And you let this happen? Thomas looked at her, and there was no anger in him. Only understanding that comes too late. Your mother knew this could happen, he said. That is why she added measures to the trust. Mara's breath caught. What measures? Thomas opened his coat and removed a sealed envelope. Our mother's handwriting on the front. Both of our names written together. This letter was to be given only if the house became a subject of conflict, he said. Your mother wrote it when she understood time was short. I felt the world tilt. I remembered her handwriting on grocery lists, birthday notes, messages taped to the fridge. This was the same hand, the same warmth, the same final voice. Mara stared at the envelope like it burned. I cannot, she whispered. You will, Thomas said softly. Not now, but you will. He placed the envelope on the railing between us, a line neither of us crossed. Then he turned to Evan and Robert. You both will be contacted by the court regarding fraud and attempted unlawful transfer. Do not leave the county. Robert's composure cracked. Evan looked at the ground. Thomas returned to his car. No dramatics. No warnings. Just truth delivered and left behind. When his headlights disappeared, the night felt heavier. Mara and I stood in silence. The envelope between us. The house behind us. I did not do this to hurt you, she whispered. I was drowning. I had no one. You had me, I said quietly. You just did not want to ask. You wanted to take. Mara closed her eyes. I cannot open that letter right now. I know, I said. I will wait. She nodded once, then turned and walked inside. But she did not go to rest. Through the porch window I saw her pick up her phone. Her voice was sharp, urgent. A name fell from her lips. A lawyer. Not ours. Hers. She was not done. Not defeated. Not remorseful. She was preparing for war. And when I lifted the envelope, I heard her say, find a way to remove her. I did not open the letter that night. It sat on the kitchen table between me and the past, sealed in paper the color of old sunlight. I could still hear Mara's voice from the hallway, low and urgent, sharp with desperation. Find a way to remove her. Her words echoed long after she hung up the phone. I did not confront her. Not yet. Some fights require timing. Some truths require silence first. I stayed downstairs. The house was too quiet. The walls felt too full of memory. I moved through the rooms slowly, as if rediscovering them. The living room still smelled faintly of the cedar polish our mother used. The quilt on the back of the couch was the same one she stitched during the winter she had recovered from surgery. The family photos on the staircase had dust on the frames, tiny but visible. Mara had been keeping the house alive, yes. But barely. Grief does not preserve. It drains. I sat at the table and placed my hand on the envelope. My mother's handwriting. Soft loops. Steady pressure. A style that only belonged to someone who learned penmanship before words were typed more than written. I did not open it. I waited. Upstairs a door clicked shut. Mara had gone to her room. A long while passed. The house settled around me. When I finally went upstairs, I walked past her door. Light glowed beneath the frame. She was awake. I hesitated. I wanted to knock. To speak. To remember that we were sisters first. But the words she had spoken to her lawyer replayed. Remove her. Family is not always safe. I went to the spare room instead. I slept lightly, as if the house itself was listening. Morning broke pale and cold. Mara did not come downstairs. I did not call her. We drove separately to the courthouse. The hallway smelled like paper and quiet decisions. We stood side by side at the clerk's counter, strangers wearing the same last name. The clerk took the trust documents, the deed chain, the forged power of attorney, and the injunction paperwork. She stamped each page with slow, deliberate force. Every stamp echoed like a door locking shut. Mara did not look at me. When the clerk finished, she handed us copies and spoke in the tone of someone who had seen inheritance tear families apart more times than she could count. A temporary block is now active. No sale. No transfer. No contract. Pending hearing. She did not say whoever forged documents is in trouble. She did not need to. Everyone in the building knew. Outside the courthouse, the air felt different. Sharper. More real. Mara finally spoke. What happens now? I looked at the envelope in my hand. Now, I said. We read the letter. Her breath caught. Not ready. But she nodded. We sat in the car. Two sisters who once built forts out of blankets and whispered secrets long after bedtime. I broke the seal. The paper smelled like old lavender. I read silently. Mara watched my face, searching for herself there. My mother's words were simple. Do not let love become possession. Do not let grief become hunger. This house is not an inheritance. It is a memory. If you hold it together, it will shelter you. If you fight over it, it will ruin you. My throat tightened. The next lines were harder. Mara will want to hold on. Adeline will want to run. Neither is wrong. Neither is right. The house must belong to both or to neither. I looked up. Mara's eyes were filled with tears she did not wipe away. She whispered, "So what do we do?" But before I could answer, a car pulled into the driveway. Not Evan. Not Robert. Not Thomas. A county sheriff's car. Mara's face drained of color. The deputy stepped out holding paperwork. "Adeline Hale?" he asked. "Yes." He handed me the document. A petition for emergency guardianship of the property. Filed by Mara. Filed this morning. I stared at the petition in my hands. The official seal glinted beneath the morning light. The words felt unreal, like reading someone else's story. Mara Hale requests full emergency guardianship of the property, citing concerns regarding the mental and emotional capacity of Adeline Hale. She had not only tried to take the house, she had tried to declare me unfit to make decisions about my own life. Not greedy. Not desperate. Calculated. "Mara," I said quietly, my voice steady in a way that surprised even me, "you filed this today." She did not look at me. Her eyes were fixed on the document, as if it belonged to someone else. "It is temporary," she whispered. "It is only so everything can stay stable while we figure this out. The house, it needs someone who will protect it." I did not raise my voice. "You wanted to remove me permanently. You were going to lock me out of my own childhood." She flinched. The deputy waited, expression neutral, trained to remain outside the weight of family wars. "I just need you both to sign that you've received notice," he said. I signed first. The pen felt heavier than it should have. Mara hesitated, then signed too. Her hands trembled. The deputy nodded and left. The silence that followed was not quiet. It roared. We did not go back into the house. We stood on the porch like two survivors of the same storm, unsure who had caused it. I folded my mother's letter carefully and placed it back in the envelope. "Mara," I said, "we need to talk. Not about the documents. Not about the house. About why." Her shoulders rose in a slow, uneven breath. She did not cry. She did not defend herself. She simply said, "Not here." We drove to the library. Neutral ground. Public, quiet, safe from shouting. We sat in a corner booth near the window. Outside, children were drawing chalk shapes on the sidewalk. Inside, two sisters tried to understand where everything had gone wrong. Mara kept her hands wrapped around a cup of untouched tea. "When Mom died," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "it felt like I became the only one holding the history. The memories. The conversations. You left. Someone had to stay. I left because I could not breathe inside grief," I told her. "Not because I stopped loving you. Or the house. Or her." Her jaw tightened. "You started sending checks like that was the same as being here." "It was what I had," I said. "I did not have strength. I had money. I was trying to help." She looked up at me then, and in her eyes there was not anger but exhaustion. "I was afraid," she said. "If I let you back in, I thought you would take everything and leave me alone again. So it was fear. Not malice. Not greed. Fear can twist itself into terrible shapes. But fear is not an excuse to steal." I leaned forward. "Mara, you tried to have me declared unfit. That is not protecting the house. That is trying to erase me." She pressed a hand to her forehead. "I know." The words were quiet, broken. "I know, Adeline. And I do not know how to undo it." For a moment the world softened. But only for a moment. Because my phone buzzed on the table. A voicemail. From the title company. I put it on speaker. "Hello, Ms. Hale. We wanted to confirm that the buyer for the property has already wired the initial deposit. The contract is progressing. Please contact us if there are any disputes." Buyer. There was a buyer. This was not theoretical. Not planning. Not panic. The sale was already in motion. My voice was ice when I asked, Mara, who did you sell to? She did not answer at first. Then, a developer. I closed my eyes. The kind that tears down houses. The kind that erases memories in exchange for parking lots and apartment buildings with glass fronts and no soul. I opened my eyes again. But before I could speak, we both saw movement outside the library window. A man in a dark suit, walking straight toward the entrance. He was holding a briefcase. He was the developer's representative, and he had the contract. The man in the suit entered the library like he already owned the space. His steps were quiet, efficient, practiced. A person used to finalizing deals, not discussing them. He stopped at our table and offered a polite, polished smile. "Miss Hale?" he asked. For one moment I saw both of us look up. Then his gaze settled on Mara. Of course. She was the one who had met him first. She was the one who initiated the sale. She was the one he knew. "Yes," she said, her voice thin. "This is an inconvenient time." "I am sure," he replied. "But we have documents ready for signature. The buyer is eager to proceed. If we finalize today, the demolition permit can be secured by the end of the week." Demolition. He said it casually, like it meant nothing. My heart did not lurch or break. It sharpened. "You should know," I said. "This property is not legally hers to sell. There are multiple parties with ownership interest. And I have not signed anything." The man turned toward me, expression still calm, but his eyes flickered with something sharper. "And you are Adeline Hale, her sister, co-owner, and beneficiary of the recorded title transfer." Mara closed her eyes. The man placed the briefcase on the table and opened it, revealing the contract. "We were told," he said slowly, "that the deed was held solely by Miss Hale. We were told the other sister relinquished interest." I did not. The words were simple, solid, final. He shifted. Not panicked, simply recalculating. "Then this is an internal family matter." "No," I said. "This is fraud." Mara's hands gripped the edge of the table. "I was going to tell you," she whispered, but her voice collapsed halfway through the sentence. "No, you were going to finish the sale and inform me after it was done," I corrected. "Once the house was already gone. Once there was nothing I could do." Because that had been the plan. She said nothing. The man in the suit slowly closed the briefcase. "In that case," he said carefully, "I will notify my client that the sale is blocked pending dispute." Blocked. The word took the air out of the room. Not cancelled. Not lost. Blocked. Meaning, everything now depended on what happened next. He gave Mara one last look. Professional, detached, but unmistakably disappointed. "Call me when the situation changes," he said. Then he left. The silence he left behind was worse than shouting. We walked to the parking lot in silence. Mara leaned against her car, staring at the steering wheel like she no longer knew what to do with her hands. "I was drowning," she whispered again. "Mom left me with the house and the memories and the weight. You got to run. You got freedom. I got the responsibility to carry grief every day." Her voice broke, but I did not move toward her. "Then you should have asked for help," I said. "Not tried to steal." Her chin trembled. Finally, tears. Real ones. But tears do not reverse legal filings. They do not rebuild trust. They do not undo almost selling our mother's home. "I want to fix this," she said. "Tell me how." I looked at her. Slowly. Clearly. "You are going to call your lawyer. You are going to withdraw the guardianship petition. Then we are going to meet with the estate attorney and open the letter." "The letter," she repeated like it was something sacred or dangerous. "Both maybe." She nodded. "Okay. I will do it." But before relief could settle, my phone vibrated. A text. Unknown number. One sentence. "Your sister has already filed a motion to enforce the sale." Mara's phone buzzed at the same moment. She read the message too. Her face drained of color. This was not fear now. This was realization. Someone else was involved. Someone advising her. Pushing her. Someone who wanted the sale to happen no matter what. Slowly, Mara lifted her eyes to mine. I did not send that motion, she whispered. I swear. I did not. I believed her. Which meant only one thing. Her lawyer was moving without her permission. To force the sale. To erase the house. To erase me. I inhaled. Controlled. Steady. Give me the name of your lawyer, I said. Mara swallowed. Then spoke the name. And I recognized it. A name tied to property disputes, inheritance battles, and aggressive settlement tactics. The kind of lawyer who does not just represent someone. He owns their choices. And he was now trying to erase me from my own mother's legacy. I closed my car door and started the engine. Because I knew where he worked. I knew his office. And I was going there. Right now. The next person I needed to confront was not Mara. It was the man who thought he could erase me on paper. His office sat on the top floor of a polished glass building downtown. Cold. Severe. Designed to make clients feel small, and him appear powerful. I parked, turned off the engine, and sat still for a moment. My heartbeat was steady now. Not frantic. Not broken. Focused. I took the envelope from the passenger seat. My mother's handwriting. The one thing in this entire war that felt like truth. Then I walked inside. The receptionist tried to ask who I was there to see, but I said the name clearly and calmly. Leonard Voss. Her eyebrows lifted slightly, but she made the call. Go straight in, she said. As if the man expected me. Of course he did. His office was too large. The kind that announces power before words do. He was behind his desk, hands folded, expression unreadable. Miss Hale, he said. To what do I owe the visit? I didn't sit. You filed a motion to force the sale of my mother's house. Without my sister's approval. And certainly without mine. He did not blink. He did not shift. I advised your sister based on her best financial interest, he replied. She expressed that the property was emotionally burdensome, that it prevented her from moving forward. She also didn't have the legal authority to sell it. That is why, he said, we pursued alternate methods. Alternate methods. Meaning, the guardianship petition, the attempt to have me declared unfit, the quiet erasure of my signature, voice, and existence. You tried to remove me on paper, I said. Your sister believed, he said calmly, that you would resist any plan that benefited her. I stepped closer. She believed that because you told her that. Because you fed her fear. Because fear makes people easy to control. His eyes flickered. Just slightly. So I had struck the right place. You manipulated her grief, I said. You saw a grieving daughter with inherited property, and you guided her into a legal box where you controlled every door. He exhaled slowly, like a teacher speaking to a slow student. You are emotionally invested. She is financially unstable. She needed direction. No, I said. She needed her sister. I placed the envelope on his desk. This is from my mother. Sealed. Intended to be opened only if the house became the center of conflict. It is addressed to both of us. He did not look at it. He looked at me. You believe sentiment will win this, he said. But the sale is already in process. It is blocked. For now, he replied. Judges respond to logic, not emotion. And the logical move is to liquidate the property so neither of you carries the financial weight. I smiled. Not warmly. You made one mistake, Mr. Voss. His jaw tightened. You assumed the house needed to be liquidated to be valuable. You never checked the land. For the first time he moved. A small shift. I continued. My mother transferred the land title to me 3 years before she died. The house sits on land that legally belongs only to me. Without the land, the house cannot be sold, moved, demolished, or redeveloped. The silence had weight. If the house was a boat, I had just revealed that I owned the ocean. His voice was quiet now. Does your sister know? No, I said. Not yet. I picked up the envelope again. Because the letter tells her why. Then I leaned close enough that he had to look at me. If you take one more step to push that sale, to influence her, to corner her. I placed my hand flat on the desk. I will file a bar complaint and subpoena every email you've ever sent her. And I will win. Because you have already crossed the ethical line. He did not speak. As he knew I was right. I turned and walked toward the door. My hand touched the handle. Wait, he said. I stopped, not turning. She will not handle the truth well. I know, I said. But she deserves the truth, not your version of it. I left the office. I did not shake. I did not cry. I had work to do. Outside the sky was gray. The kind of sky that holds storms without releasing them. I got into my car, placed the envelope beside me and dialed Mara. She answered on the second ring. Her voice was quiet. Are you coming home? Yes. Should I wait? Yes. My fingers tightened around the steering wheel. Because we're opening the letter. And whatever was written inside it was the piece that would either save my sister and me or end us forever. We sat at the kitchen table where our mother used to place warm bread and summer peaches. Now it held only one thing. The envelope. Mara's hand shook. Mine didn't. Not because I was stronger, but because I had already broken. There was nothing left in me to crack. I slid the letter out and unfolded it slowly. Her handwriting was steady, graceful, unmistakably Mom. My daughters, if you are reading this, then you are afraid of losing each other. Mara closed her eyes. I continued. This house was never meant to be owned. It was meant to be held. It is a vessel of memory, not a prize. If you fight over it, you will hurt yourselves more than you could ever hurt each other. Mara let out a soft, broken sound. Mara, I know the weight you carry. You stay because you love deeply. But love can turn to fear when it is not shared. Her tears fell onto the table. Adeline, I know you run when the world grows heavy. You love by providing, by fixing, by protecting from a distance. But love is not distance. My throat tightened. Neither of you is wrong. But if you battle for the house, you will lose the only home that matters, each other. I set the paper down. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Finally, Mara whispered. I thought if you came back, I would disappear. That everything about me would become less. My voice was quiet. And I thought if I came back, I wouldn't be enough to stay. Two different fears. Same wound. I reached across the table. She took my hand. No forgiveness spoken aloud. But something softened. Something released. We will keep the house, I said. Together. On the land Mom trusted me with. But not as a battlefield. As a home. For both of us. And for anyone we let in. Mara nodded. Not with relief. With acceptance. Later, I drafted a letter to her lawyer. Not dramatic. Not angry. Just a single sentence. Your services are no longer required. He replied within minutes. Understood. Fear loses its power when the truth stands beside it. We repaired the title filings. We dissolved the fraudulent transfer. We withdrew the guardianship petition. We notified the developer that the sale would not proceed. And when the house was safe, finally undeniably safe, we stood on the porch together and watched the sun fall behind the trees. Mara leaned her head on my shoulder. I don't deserve this, she whispered. Neither did I said. That's why we start again. If you have ever lost family to fear, to grief, to misunderstandings that felt too large to undo, you know this truth. Most wars do not start with hate. They start with someone being afraid to ask for help. My mother knew us better than we knew ourselves. She did not leave us instructions. She left us a way back. And we took it. To anyone listening, keep your receipts. Keep your proof. Keep your strength. But also, keep the door open for healing when healing is earned. Because sometimes the real revenge is not destruction. It is rebuilding what was nearly taken.